Yeah. The last question I do want to ask you, and I'm asking you, well, you could deal with it however. I guess more of a prediction and also a reaction to Diddy. Man, if you had told me maybe a year ago that Diddy could ever be in this situation, not saying any man's above the law or not saying any man is, infallible, but to see the things that has happened and how quickly his empire has essentially fallen, and to see now he's at the place and at the juncture of coming up to, like, he's facing a federal indictment that could possibly put him away for life. It's just kind of shocking, man.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, so far we just have a raid. Put aside all his civil lawsuits. We have lots of lawsuits. I don't know that those are ever going to stop. Yeah. I think he's going to have to pay a lot of people a lot of money.
I think he's going to hit the bankruptcy button at a point.
I think he's got a lot of money, though. I mean, Cassie got 30. I don't think anybody's going to get as much as her. He's probably got 100, 125 laying around to pay him out.
Maybe other people. Historically, I mean, even like Harvey Weinstein and them guys, right? Like, what's the other guy?
Did he got a lot of money? Diageo paid him. Also, none of his problems seem to have started until the Diageo shit left. I don't know.
I'm wondering if there was maybe some inside tipster that probably was, maybe they're paying off some guy from the government, be like, hey, listen, some shit's coming down the pipeline. Get rid of this dude.
They paid him $1 billion over about a 9-year period, and they were going to have to keep paying, and now they're off the hook.
But they were only really upset, or not upset, they challenged the budgets that he requires. Not like so here's the thing. He's having a great relationship with them. He's having such a great relationship with them. They get new relationships. So he's on with Cîroc. This is the deal I hear he has with Cîroc. Hey, you're getting paid as a endorser, like an ambassador, which might be, hey, this is a set amount. He says, I want more skin in the game. They look at him and be like, yo, you'll never own Diageo. You'll never get a percentage. This is what we'll do, though. We'll make you a partner on flavors of Cîroc that you bring to market. So you'll get a percentage of the sales of those flavors. He said, all right, let's do it. And also you're the face of it, right? So you're pretty much responsible for all the marketing. They give him all the money. This happens for years. So all those flavors of Cîroc you see, that's because they did that deal with Diddy. Diddy gets a part of everyone he brought to market. They're all good. They're down with just throwing him the marketing money. Who knows what he does with it? He's shake that, bad boy, take this, yo, Cîroc, pour it in everybody's throat, act bad. Nobody has a problem with it. A year and a half ago or 2 years ago, they're like, he asked for the budget for the next fiscal year. They're like, no, I think we're going to go a lot less. He's like, what? The fuck are you doing? Then also he brings DeLeon. He brings DeLeon. And he says, all right, well, I own DeLeon, or I own half of it. It's like, hey, let's make this a new Cîroc. And their relationship changes drastically. They don't really fuck with him as much anymore. Now, we could just say maybe he's just biting off more than he could chew. He was always, put like this. I'm pretty sure Adidas at a certain point with Kanye was just like, buddy, you think you're too important. Get the fuck on out of here, right? Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe they were like, hey, this guy's made you guys. If they paid him $1 billion, they probably made a couple billion from him, right?
I think they probably make 10, 50 times.
So maybe they were like, hey, they got a tip to say, this guy is not going to be good for all the marketing greatness he's done for you. Start cutting budgets, definitely. Get out of there. They got out at the right fucking time, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. Look, he's gonna. I think he'll pay off any civil settlements. I think he'll have the money for that. And then the question becomes: is he going to catch a federal charge? The raid was done by HSI. It was the feds, but Homeland Security Investigations was there. Anytime HSI gets involved, you're talking sex trafficking.
And Southern District of New York, they brought down Casanova, 6ix9ine, all the guys.
But HSI specifically is an agency that you when you see them, you can usually bet your bottom dollar that this is going to be a sex trafficking type of situation because it involves movement across state lines. Whether they found evidence, it's been a while since we've seen the raid. Could he get charged with sex trafficking because maybe he had minors or other women being moved across state lines or out of the country? We'll see. Charge hasn't come yet. Listen, you know how that shit works. They'll talk to you if you have information to give up. They won't charge you. They can continue that conversation. I don't know what's going to happen with Diddy, man. I do think that he'll survive all the civil lawsuits because he has enough money to pay them all off. And, you know, what I've said on my page, and maybe this is me just kind of wishful thinking because Diddy was the producer of every fucking song that I ever listened to growing up. I mean, I grew up in Queens, New York in the 90s. Like, Puff Daddy was that dude. Like, when No Way Out dropped, like, I know every word to every song on that album by heart. So I'd like to think that whatever he was, you know, his violence towards his spouse, where he beat his wife just in a way that I could not.
Or beat his girlfriend. He never got married.
I could never imagine like a man would do that to a woman, especially not a man. I can't imagine that. It takes everything off the table, you know. Like, well, what can you not do? Really, like, what are your limits? Do you have any limits? It doesn't seem like you have any limits, man. She had her hood on. He did a closed fist pop to the back of her head.
Yeah, no, that was definitely just violent, just like really disgusting.
I can't put nothing past you at that point.
Well, okay. I think everyone, especially after seeing that video, knows his behavior is vile, disgusting. He probably done much more, but do we think he's going to jail? Because that would be, I think when people saw R. Kelly going to jail, they're like, whoa. You know, but they were like, well, that's not the R. Kelly of the, you know, that's not R. Kelly at the peak, right? Like, that's not R. Kelly, that's the guy. You know, whether you want to think about Michael Jackson or not, there was conversation about, well, kids or whatever the case is, and he didn't go to jail, right? No. But Diddy would be probably the most high-profile person ever in hip-hop history if he ever goes to jail. And I mean, obviously, that would be tantamount to, like, Bill Cosby.
Right.
Right?
I mean, the only thing that could potentially save Diddy is if that HSI investigation, if that raid was motivated entirely upon some of the allegations we've seen in the civil lawsuits. So in the Little Rod lawsuit, you'll remember Little Rod's lawyer filed a lawsuit against a lot of people. He filed a lawsuit against Lucian Grange, Universal Music. By the time Lucian Grange's lawyers were done with that lawsuit, you know, the lawyer for Little Rod was writing letters to the court basically apologizing for naming Lucian and saying he's trying to run it back. He's like, oh, my bad.
Lucian's the guy.
I dropped all these charges.
Lucian's the guy.
Well, Lucian's lawyers made a mockery of that complaint, and they said this is complete fucking bullshit. This is not how you can file lawsuits. I should have never been named. The law's just not adding up. The allegations are not adding up.
Well, I think you know that particular lawyer and Lil Rod himself probably got a real taste of you're flying too close to the sun. Diddy is super high. Lucian Grange is the music industry.
No, but Grange, the reason why Grange gets out of that lawsuit and the reason why the lawyer had to walk it back and really kind of go hat in hand and, you know, ask the court for forgiveness is because they were on legally just not good ground. The complaint as it was written did not create did not create enough allegations, even if true, to hold Lucian accountable. And then there was huge questions about they were just complete fabrications in there where they were saying that Lucian had been to these parties when there was just never ever happened. And so my point is that it is certainly possible that the investigation by the federal government was motivated entirely upon allegations that have been made in civil lawsuits. And if that were the case, there is some hope that Diddy can escape charges because we have now a record that a lot of these allegations in these civil lawsuits are kind of far flung and out of the question.
I think Cassie's a star witness. I'm wondering.
I heard that from Bradford Cohen. He's a smart guy, and Brad's comment, his point was that when you look at the timing of when the Cassie tape got released, it was released right after the raid, right? And so who had the tape? The feds had it. And so how does the tape get released? Well, one way is there's a federal agent or employee or maybe a janitor. Somebody gets their hand on a tape, they sell it for money. Mm-hmm. But Brad Cohen, the lawyer for Kodak Black and many other celebrities and a brilliant criminal mind, his theory was that Cassie's going to be the star witness. And that if Cassie's going to be the star witness, well, Cassie was also maybe involved in bringing women.
She's the Ghislaine Maxwell. And again, in further cementing the fact that rather than a co-conspirator or unindicted co-conspirator, she's actually just only a victim.
Right.
Because, I mean, she probably is going to be an unindicted co-conspirator. I mean, if she recruited, hey, I want all the black dudes in the area with 13-inch penises. Like, yo, you procure these motherfuckers for the freak off. You know what I mean? Now, again, under duress, not against your wishes. That's why you show, hey, look how I was being treated when I didn't do what this motherfucker wants, right?
Now, I thought that the release of the video could be something else. I thought the release of the video might be that the feds raided him. They don't have any charges. They kind of look bad for doing all that and then not charging him. So you release that video and you're like, look, he's a fucking monster.
Well, a grand jury is supposedly being convened. Here's the thing, and I don't have a horse in the race, but I think if they do this, Diddy's fucked. And I'm gonna go down this train of thought. If we're to believe what you said, maybe they had the idea or was motivated by some of these civil lawsuits, but some of these civil lawsuits, especially filed by even Lil Rod's lawyer, they paint what's a RICO organization that is basically sex trafficking. Now, with that, it's always important to find the money. Even in the Tekashi case, they had mad instances of drugs being sold, and it wasn't necessarily like they cared about the drugs. It was just like this was an enterprise that somehow had a way of making money, right? If that becomes a situation where they attack, a racketeering angle, even for sex trafficking with Diddy, and I know you say he has a lot of money, I agree as well, and he could pay off whoever he wants to. However, if that becomes part of the subject of this investigation or the indictment, where maybe he's not privy to just have hundreds of millions of dollars at his disposal, it kind of brings back the whole situation when they went after, guy in Queens, Preem, when they felt like he was getting bankrolled by Murder Inc. And they said, all right, cool, we ran into Murder Inc. and we make sure that they're not going to be bankrolling you anymore. You have to face us as a regular human, not as the guy with hundreds of millions that could silence people and really maybe taint the process. If they do that and cripple Diddy's financial possibilities, I think this might look really sticky for Diddy.
Oh, don't get me wrong. He's in big fucking trouble. And there probably is a federal grand jury, and he's probably going to have to try to, give up information to lower his charges. I don't know. But certainly there's a lot of smoke around that man.
I've heard some things. I've heard that Diddy has a team of 20-plus lawyers. He has 10-plus investigators, private investigators, who are as much as if you post something, they're looking into it. Like he has the very best of the very best working on debunking every single thing said, even on social media, that say the feds were probably trying to either look into or add to their case, that they're trying to work with the feds here to be like, hey, listen, this is bullshit. Before you even guys look into it, we have an innocent guy who's getting, railroaded by not only money hungry people, but by a narrative that, isn't going. A lot of people have drummed up this narrative because they're jealous of his success. If that works, I don't know. But I think Cassie, they've compelled her to testify. And if she get up there and start singing,